Today we are going to introduce the first person in the Renaissance thought or the makers of the intellectual movement, Indian Renaissance. That is the first one is Rajaram Mohan Roy. Rajaram Mohan Roy headed the intellectual movement generally known as the Indian Renaissance or the re-establishment of the glory of the ancient Indian culture. What we are going to see from him is the contribution he has made in the field of this revival, renewal. When Rajaram Mohan Roy came to the stage of Indian history, ancient Indian values had slowly given place to formalism in religious and social life of the people. Religion had assumed the shape of either extreme asceticism or excessive ritualism with no urge to life or inspiration in it and no positive criterion of truth. It was perhaps the darkest age in the modern Indian history, an age in which an old society and polity had crumbled and no new one had yet been built in its space. India then needed religion with a wholesome basis of practicability. What we see when Rajaram Mohan Roy came to the picture was that the whole system was, in a way we can say, people very poor, totally ignorant, and they had no idea about what true religion was. Neither they had any idea about or any hope for something that is good that was going to happen. The scene was set that the Muslim rulers, their ruling was slowly coming down or crumbling. And then gradually the Britishers had taken over. They came for business or trade, and slowly looking at the structure, that means the dwindling structure of the Indian society, they knew that it was easy for them to set foot, and they began to be the conquerors or the oppressors. Thus, all the system became the oppressor's way. That is the education, religion, culture, different aspects were given the British culture. So all that was Indian seemed to be suppressed. And that was a situation to which Rajaram Mohan Roy is coming. Rajaram Mohan Roy was born in Radhanagar, in a village in the district of Murshidabad in Bengal. Rajaram Mohan Roy was born on 22nd May 1772. His father was Ramokanto Roy, an Orthodox Brahmin. He had a good education at home. Education at that time meant to cater to the need of the British society, the sense, get some job. That was the whole aspect of the education. So what they were taught some language, and that was all education. Education meant for mostly, that is of memorizing the passage, and that was considered to be the education. Rajaram Mohan Roy was very much a devoted Hindu. Every day he would not put down the Holy Scripture without reading the Valmiki Ramayana. But when he came to know that his mother also was fasting, he had food for her sake. In his 14th year, he was about to become a monk, but his mother came in his way. The deep religious background, his father, a staunch Brahmin, of course, employed in the British office somewhere, and there he had an income, or father had an income. At the same time, he did not want his son to be uneducated. Therefore, he saw to it that his son gets the best of education. So, although born in an Orthodox Brahmin family, he was deeply influenced by the religious life of his parents during the early stage of his life. His education in Bengali, Sanskrit, Persian, and in the Muslim religious beliefs equipped him with the first-hand knowledge of Hinduism and Islam. At Patna, he studied the Western philosophy and literature. As a result of his wide study of Hindu scriptures, Rajaram Mohan Roy understood the spirit of Hindu religion and the social philosophy. So his father wanted him to have good education, so sent him to Patna. That was an education hub at that time, and therefore hoping that his child should have a better education, therefore he was sent to Patna in the 9th year. The boy was very intelligent. He studied Arabic and Persian under famous Muslim scholars in Patna. Aristotle and other Western philosophy, the thinkers. He also studied that the hundreds of the years ago who lived. Ram Mohan read to the words in Arabic. By studying their books, Ram Mohan developed the ability to think for himself. So we can see in Rajaram Mohan Roy already a developing philosopher. So not only that, he was learning the languages at that time, which was of course meant to secure him a job in a curiosity to know deeper, more. Many people in India who believed in God worshipped pictures and idols of God. Rajaram Mohan Roy wondered if God had any form. He was not interested in idol worship and in festivals at home. He opposed idol worship. But his father, who was a very firm believer in idol worship, felt he was doing wrong. He advised him. The son did not change his mind. Owing to the differences between Ram Mohan and his parents, he left his house. So there we can see just right from the younger age, some convictions he came to have, and then he did not want to give up. He knew that, could be that influence of the study which he had and the philosophical thinking for himself what this all mean. Therefore, totally opposed to the idol worship, often he had a difference of opinion with his father, who was a staunch Brahmin who did all kind of this rituals and worship of idols. So because of the difference between the two, the father and the son decided to leave home. Ram Mohan was sensible, though young. The boy who left his house did not wander aimlessly. He joined a group of monks. They wandered about the foot of the Himalayas and went to Tibet. The Tibetans were Buddhists. They used to worship their teacher. Ram Mohan understood the principles of Buddhism. He condemned the worship of the teacher. Therefore, the teacher and his disciples grew angry. There was even a plot to kill this bald boy. But the women there took pity on him and saved his life. They cleverly managed to send him back to India. So see the influence in his childhood, or what he learned was that idol worship not at all in agreement with his reasoning. Therefore, be it a teacher who is worshipped or an idol worshipped, according to him, God had no form. And that's a formless being. And he held on to that. Therefore, he pointed out, no, it is not right what you are doing. He understood the principles of Buddhism, and Buddhism was a noble thought, and he knew that the principles do not allow a personal worship. But the teacher and the disciples were not very happy with this bold boy who pointed out that that is wrong. So again he escaped from there, that is from Tibet he is escaping and coming back to India. The parents received him happily, but still the difference of opinion went on. His Sanskrit education, the parents lovingly received their son who had gone away. But even now, the father and the son could not agree on many matters. Ramakanta celebrated his son's marriage, hoping that he would change. But the son did not change. Rajaram Mohan Roy went to Benares and studied Vedas, the Upanishads, and Hindu philosophy deeply. When his father died in 1803, he returned to Murshidabad. So that was his village. So his insatiable thirst for knowledge, something which is outstanding. What is Rajaram Mohan Roy's view on religion? His differences with his father regarding idol worship and the manner in which he conducted himself in Tibet show clearly one thing. Rajaram Mohan Roy was a man who thought for himself. In the Vedas and Upanishads, we see great freedom of thought. Rajaram Mohan Roy admired this spirit of freedom. He proclaimed that simple living and high thinking should be a man's motto in life. He lived accordingly. Simple living and high thinking, that was his motto, and that he lived through his life. Once a man brought a conch for sale. He wanted a price of rupees 500. He said, "This conch can give anything a man wants. He can get all prosperity by possessing it." Kalinath, a friend of Ram Mohan, wanted to buy it. He asked Ram Mohan for his opinion. Ram Mohan laughed and said, "If this conch can give all the wealth of the world, it must be Goddess Lakshmi herself. I can't understand why this poor fellow wishes to sell Goddess Lakshmi." As soon as the man heard this, he disappeared. So they understand, just to show that rationality in him, rational thinking. So not easily fooled by others or duped by others. Then we see Rajaram Mohan Roy. Now, after his father's death, he has come back and he has to manage the family or help the mother at home. Already he is married and he has to settle himself. So we see him at Rangapur. Rajaram Mohan Roy joined the service of Revenue Department of the East India Company. He was an assistant to Mr. John Digby, an English officer from 1809 to 1814. Digby appreciated his efficiency. So Rajaram Mohan Roy, tall, well-built, handsome figure, and able to converse very well. Though he held his high post and a handsome salary he had and the property in the village, he did not seek for luxurious life.